Tonight, we're diving into a story that brings the terror of the unknown right into the home. Imagine moving into a new place, only to find that you're not alone, and that something in the darkness knows your name. This is the story of Voices from the Dark. Let's get into it. Our story begins with a Redditor, who we'll call Sarah. Sarah's family had just moved into an old farmhouse. A charming place with history etched into its walls. The house was everything they'd been looking for. Spacious, secluded, and surrounded by acres of open land. It was the perfect place to start fresh and build new memories. But from the moment they moved in, something felt off. It was little things at first. The occasional cold draft, strange creaks in the floorboards, and an unsettling feeling of being watched. Sarah and her family tried to brush it off, blaming it on the house's age and the unfamiliar surroundings. But soon, those little things turned into something far more disturbing. It started one evening when Sarah was unpacking boxes in her bedroom. She was alone upstairs when she heard it. A voice, soft, clear, calling her name. Sarah? It was as if someone was standing just outside her door, whispering her name in a low, almost playful tone. Startled, Sarah rushed to the hallway, expecting to find one of her family members playing a prank. The hallway was empty. She called out to her parents and brother, but they were all downstairs, oblivious to what had just happened. They insisted they hadn't called her name, and Sarah tried to convince herself that she had imagined it. Deep down, she knew what she had heard. Over the next few days, the voices grew bolder. Sarah would hear her name being called from different parts of the house, sometimes from the basement, other times from the attic, or even from right behind her when she was alone in a room. It wasn't just Sarah who experienced this either. Her brother and parents also began hearing their names being whispered from the shadows, always when they were alone and always just out of sight. The voices were never loud, never aggressive. They were always calm, almost coaxing, as if trying to lure them into the darkness. But there was something deeply unsettling about them, something that made the hairs on the back of their necks stand up. The voices didn't belong to any of them, and they didn't match the voice anyone they knew. One night, Sarah's father decided to investigate the strange occurrences. He was a practical man, not one to believe in the supernatural, and he was determined to find a rational explanation. Armed with a flashlight, he ventured into the basement, where the voices had been heard most frequently. The rest of the family waited anxiously upstairs, listening to the creaks and groans of the old house. Minutes passed, and then they heard it. The unmistakable sound of their father's voice calling out from the basement. "Come down here," he said, but something about the tone wasn't right. It was flat, devoid of emotion, like a bad recording. When their father emerged from the basement moments later, he looked pale and shaken. He swore he hadn't called out to them. They had all heard it. The final straw came one stormy night when the power went out, plunging the house into darkness. The family huddled together in the living room, their only light coming from the flickering flames of the fireplace. That's when they heard the voices again, louder and more insistent than ever before. The voices called each of their names in turn, echoing from the walls, the ceiling, even the floor beneath them. In the darkness, the voices seemed to multiply, as if whatever was in the house had grown stronger, more confident. The family sat frozen in fear, unable to speak, unable to move. It was as if the house itself was alive, and it was speaking to them, demanding their attention. When the power finally returned, the voices stopped as abruptly as they had begun. The family wasted no time. Within days, they packed up their belongings and left the farmhouse behind, unable to bear the thought of spending another night in a place where the darkness called out to them by name. To this day, Sarah and her family have no explanation for what they experienced. Was it the house itself, something in its walls, or something much older and more sinister that had taken root there? They never found out, and they never went back to find out. The story of Voices from the Darkness is a chilling reminder that sometimes the scariest things are the ones we can't see, can still hear. It's a tale that leaves us questioning what might be lurking just beyond our sight, waiting for the right moment to make itself known. Thank you for joining us on this terrifying journey into the story of Voices from the Darkness. If this story sent shivers down your spine, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more eerie tales from the Creepy Archives. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.